Hey, I'm Mac. Welcome to my channel. So, I recently got a question about whether it was true that many MLMs were headquartered where I live in Salt Lake City. And if so, why? Well, it is true that many MLMs are headquartered here in, well, not technically in Salt Lake City, but here in Utah, yeah. Many of them are located even just minutes from each other. Just like you can see one from the other one, from the other one, from the other one. I frequently drive Interstate 15 south from Salt Lake City to Provo for work. And the number of MLMs that I pass along the way that are just visible from the highway, their headquarters, is unbelievable, frankly. In fact, multi-level marketing happens to be the second largest industry in Utah after tourism. Yeah. So some examples would be doTERRA, Young Living, Modere, Nature's Sunshine, New Skin, Thrive Life, Zija, Unique, Jamberry, Tahitian Noni, Morinda. It's honestly kind of insane. And there are many more. So why are there so many MLMs headquartered in Utah? Well, the short answer is Mormons. There are many factors that make Mormons the kind of perfect target for MLMs and also the perfect people to start an MLM. The smoking gun that it has to do with Mormons is the fact that when you look at the locations of the headquarters within Utah, it starts to become pretty clear. So let me throw up a map here. The green outlined area is the Salt Lake City metropolitan area roughly, and then the blue outlined area is the Utah Valley, which is down near Utah Lake in Utah County. And I've also put pins for where some of these MLM headquarters are. And you can see that in the area that is Salt Lake metropolitan area, you don't see as many, but there are a ton in the Utah Valley area. Salt Lake City is one of the only places in Utah that is less than 50% Mormon. And Utah Valley, it's over 80% Mormon. It's pretty clear here that there's something going on with the correlation. Additionally, an MLM that's not located in Utah, LuLaRoe, is also one that was founded by Mormons. While some may try to say that the LDS Church teaches nothing about it, the correlation is very, very strong. Even if it isn't a direct result of the faith, there's absolutely something going on here. Mormons are so disproportionately involved in MLMs that it's not unfair to examine the link and investigate. And I'm not trying to attack the LDS Church at all here. There are other reasons to do that. I'm just analyzing links between them for this very clear correlation and reporting the results of my research. I'm pretty sure we would do the same thing if we found out that all of the Nigerian prince scam emails were being sent by like Lutherans in Boston. We would be looking at what's going on there. In order to really cover this topic well, I'm going to have to tell you a little bit about the set of beliefs that Mormons have. So buckle in, and I'll try to make this quick, but there's a lot to cover. 600 BC, Jerusalem. Everyone is totally evil. They're just bad, corrupt, no morals. And this is everybody except this guy named Lehi and his family. And God's like, Lehi, put your family on a boat and I'll lead you out of here somewhere better. And so he does. And he does lead them. And he leads them to America in 600 BC by boat from Jerusalem. And so they reproduce and reproduce, and they develop into two factions. There's the good guys, which are the Nephites, and there's the evil ones, who are the Lamanites. All right? And then Jesus gets crucified, and on his way to heaven, he stops by America to fill in the Nephites on the whole Sermon on the Mount. He just repeats that again. And then he also tells them, hey, if you guys stay as good as you are now, if you just stay good and moral and pure and clean, I will help you win against the evil Lamanites. You're going to be totally good. All right? You'll be all set. But they fucked up, and all of the Nephites are killed by the Lamanites, except for this guy, Mormon, who writes down all of this story that I've told onto gold plates in reformed Egyptian hieroglyphics that he then buries near Palmyra, New York. And then thousands of years later, Joseph Smith finds these gold plates pretty much in his backyard in the 1820s, after being told to look for them by a white Native American angel named Moroni. Yeah. And he finds the gold plates along with two rocks, that he's supposed to put into his hat. And those will allow him to translate the gold plates that are written in Reformed Egyptian hieroglyphics into English. And then which is good that he can translate them, because Moroni tells him, conveniently, that he's not allowed to show the seer stones, the rocks that let him translate, or the gold plates to anyone else. It's very convenient. And I guess what I'm saying is it really a stretch to tell somebody that you can make money from your phone selling dietary supplements when you already believe this story? So the MLMs in Utah tend to have a certain flavor to them. They tend to be natural food or wellness supplement focused, something in that genre. Mormons don't consume caffeine or drink alcohol, but they tend to have a very high affinity for natural medicine or herbal remedies. In fact, there's even a type of ephedra plant here that contains ephedrine, and it's actually called Mormon tea. Yeah, that kind of thing. Unique is a little bit different for Utah. But I guess Jamberry is also here. But mostly they tend to be, for example, doTERRA and Young Living. So another factor that really predisposes Utah and Mormons to MLM is that there is a incredible amount of pressure on Mormon women to be stay-at-home mothers. Nationwide, about 25% of married mothers are stay-at-home moms, but in Utah, that is 50%. So 50% of married mothers are stay-at-home moms in Utah. So you effectively have twice the rate of potential targets for an MLM, since they very heavily target stay-at-home mothers. And then another very important, in my opinion, factor is missions. So missionaries for the Mormon Church, they're sent all over the world. They speak hundreds of languages that they have to, any country that they're sending missionaries to, which is pretty much all of them, they have to learn the language and spend years there. And that's a huge advantage for an MLM that's starting in Utah if you have access to all these people who can speak all these languages and know all these countries and make connections there. You tend to see Utah's MLMs expand internationally very quickly and often much more broadly than others. For example, New Skin is one that has been tremendously successful internationally, perhaps more so than it has been even within the US. And for another thing, the missionaries, what are they sent out to do? Well, they're sent out to tell the story that I just told you, door to door to strangers. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that if you're desensitized to telling that story to strangers door to door, you're not going to really worry about sending some hey girls on Facebook. You're used to verbal abuse, to being ridiculed, to being made fun of, to getting the door slammed in your face, for people thinking that you're crazy, people telling you that you're in a cult. That's something that you're very conditioned to, probably, after you've told that story a few times. So that's, it's just another factor there. I mean, against them in multi-level marketing, you don't have a prayer. They're so used to that shit. And the final factor that I'm really gonna hammer home is the network. Wards of the LDS Church tend to be very tight-knit, and they trust other Mormons to a very high degree. There's a really high level of trust between Mormons and other Mormons. Also, for another thing, when you first start an MLM, you've got to start that top level, and then it's got to go from there. And if you're starting a pyramid scheme, to initiate that top level, you already have this built-in network that you can get it started with and then have it go from there. However, the only thing about looking into this topic a lot more is that the Mormon Church is very, very secretive about problems that are happening within it. Pretty much like any religious organization, but I would say more so them than anyone else. They're not going to discuss how much of a problem MLM is in a space that is accessible to outsiders. The main sources of information you hear from are ex-Mormons who are able to tell about their experiences, and most of them will tell you that MLM is a rampant, huge problem within the Mormon community. But there's only so much that we can find out as outsiders, because it tends to be a very opaque community to the outsider. But I hope that answers some questions on why there are so many MLMs in Utah and what's going on with that. And also, if you wanted to get some more information on Mormons and MLMs, I would recommend checking out the episode of the podcast Sounds Like MLM But Okay, and the episode title is MLM Mormons Losing Money. I would highly recommend you check that out. It's got a lot of great information if this is interesting to you. And with that, that's where I'm going to wrap it up. All right. I've been Mac. Peace out. Bye.